Hello, welcome to the Premiere Drums. I've opened the mixer with those two inserts only to show you that there is nothing on sends or returns, and you get only the drums. I will close that so I will have more room in my window. There is nothing on the channel other than the contact drums. Let's go over the drums and how to work with it. You can see here that there are 4 presets, and between 5 and 8 they are the same name with pre-fader at the end. So it's the same preset, but one post-fader send and one pre-fader send. And we will talk about why we need it, if you need it at all. So I've loaded this kit, which is Premiere Artist Maple Drums. Maybe I need my glasses. Wait. So I opened the Premiere Artist Maple Drums, which is the first one. And let's go over the GUI, what there is and where everything is located. The GUI can be scrolled just a little bit so we can see the names here. So this is the bass drum, snare, the toms, the hi-hat, the main volume of the cymbals, which most of the time you don't need to touch. If you want the cymbals, it's in the extra panel, and those are the crash and the ride. This is the individual volumes, and this is the master fader for the cymbals. There are 2 reverbs here. One of them is a small room, the other one is a larger room, but they are both IR samples that I've recorded a room made of stone. So it's a stone room with another IR combined just to give it a little bit of a feel. But mostly it's a stone room. So smaller one and a bigger one. And this is the master volume. Here we have sends for the reverb, reverb 1. From here, reverb 2, and solo and mute for the channels. Here we can see the round robin. Now, there are 2 ways to have a round robin in my presets. One is random round robin, which is most of the presets, and there is an individual round robin. The difference between those is in the random round robin, every time you select a key, it will increase the round robin. So even though you selected this key, it will change the round robin for that key, because the round robin count will increase with every single key hit. In the individual round robin, every single key will have its own round robin count. So if you select this one, it will be 1. You select it again, it will be 2, 3, 4. And you select that one, it will start the count from 1. So this is an individual round robin or random round robin. There is a slight difference between them. and sometimes you will want that one, and sometimes you will want the other. In a fast sequence, maybe your ear can catch the individual round robin because the sequence of the samples will be the same. It will always be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Although I have 24 samples for round robin, maybe your ear can catch that. So if you will choose the random round robin, it will be slightly difficult to understand the sequence because the sequence will be always different, hopefully. Unless you have a pattern of 24 sequences, and in that case, you will want the individual round robin. You have the ability to choose. The second column here is the volume. Every time you change a parameter, the fader or the knobs, it will show you the settings. So if I will control click, it will return it to the setting, the default setting, and we can see the parameter here. Control click, you can see the volume is 0. For every single one of those faders, it will show us the volume. This is the picture, nothing fancy. And those are the two panels. And this is reset for the round robin. Let's say you have a pattern that you really love, and you started it from round robin 1, and you want the same samples to play again and again. You can reset the round robin, even though it's round robin 7. After I will reset it, when I will select any key, it will start from 1. Again, 5, reset. So you can start the loop and reset the round robin before you start it, and then the sound will be the same every time you play it. It's an extra thing if you want it. Let's see the post fader and pre fader. The post fader means if I will start the drums and solo the bass drum and increase the room so we can hear it. If I will lower the volume, those sends are post fader. That means the fader will influence the amount of the send for the room. And you want that to make a balance for the reverb, and you want to export the loop as is. But if you want those reverbs as a send in your mix, as a stem in your mix, you can use the pre-reverb and if you will lower the volume, you will only get the reverb. So if you want to export those settings for the reverb, you can lower all the channels and you can leave only those, and you will get only the reverb, and you can print it to 2 channels, one for the small, one for the big, and you can use it in your mix. Or you can use the drums normally. The multi is basically the bass drum, snare, and toms on one insert and the cymbals on another. So we can have control over the cymbals or the drums. those two are basically the same: bass drum, snare, toms, and cymbals. And those are the pre-reverb. Let's see the random round robin. If I will select the key, the round robin count will increase. But if I will select another key, it will always start from the last count. So this is 4, this is 1, 4, 5, 1, 2, so we will always have a different count for different keys. And this is basically how you work with it. If you want to control the volume of the kit, it's better to use the velocity layers and not the faders. So let's open the kit and let's change the volume of the kit. Let's say that the hi-hat is too much for me. I don't need to go to the mixer. I can lower it from here or return it back. Now the way it works in Kontakt is we have here the velocity. Now the velocity here is not all the way up, because if I will increase the velocity all the way up, the velocity here will be less sensitive, and the volume will go from maximum volume to 0. But if the fader here is not all the way up, it's around 40. This means that the volume from the hi-hat will not go all the way to 0. Let's see it. Let's solo the hi-hat. And let's decrease the volume. Although it's on 0, the velocity will not go all the way to 0. The volume will not go to 0. So it's better to understand that if you want it to go all the way to 0 on every single sample, you need to change the velocity from here. And most of the time you will not need it, because you don't need 0 volume. But it's better to use it that way, because if the volume will be from full volume to 0, that means that every one velocity will be more or less 1 dB of volume, and you will not have the ability to control the volume of the kit precisely. So the less you have velocity percent here, the more ability you have to control the amount of volume you will get from it. So let's balance our kit. Play the loop. Let's return the kit. Let's take the bass drum. Let's increase it if we want, or decrease it. And let's have the snare, which is here, and decrease it so we can hear it. So in that way we can change the kit to our liking. So I will undo, and this goes to the cymbals as well, as we can hear, we can see here, and we can change the amount. We can't hear it, and we can hear it a lot. The same goes to the open hi-hat. We can select any one of those. Every time you select it from here in Pro Tools, it will select all the notes in that file. So it will select everything for us. And then we can change the volume for everything. If we want to select a certain notes, so we can select it from here. Here it's globally, and here it's individually. So this is the drums. There is no other process on that construction kit loops. And this is the bass, the Benson bass that I have in my site. They are both working together, and let's see. And let's hear the music. As we can hear, it's a very dry kit. Let's mute the snare. Very dry kit. So let's return the rooms. And we can decide how much we want. This is the big room, and this is the small room. Big room,